Today we're going to cover how to program an expert advisor to find and detect the pin bar, engulfing, and doji candles. Now, this would be for beginners, guys, using MQL4 on MetaTrader 4. Let's begin. So the first thing you want to do, guys, is open up your terminal called, MetaTrader 4, which is your broker. Once you do that, you're going to see a little button right here, this little flag. You're going to click that, and you're going to open up your terminal. Now, this is your programming terminal where you put on your data. But the first thing we're going to do, guys, is create we're going to create an expert advisor. Now, this can be done with a custom indicator, but it has to be done a little bit differently. But we're going to make this in an expert advisor, okay? You're going to name your expert advisor to whatever name you want. This one's called Candle Finder. Now, with the Candle Finder, guys, I'm going to go through the code line by line. And if any question or comments, just drop a comment below in the comments section. And if you want the code, it's going to be within the video. So I'm going to scroll through slowly. You can just write it down and then proceed to use the code, okay? Now, when it comes to this, guys, you're going to put in which candle to check back. So when you're looking at creating code, and you're using on an expert advisor, we're going to go back only one candle. So as it continues, one candle back is going to check if it's a pin bar, engulfing, or a doji. Now, once it does that, it's going to indicate it with a arrow, either a yellow arrow or whatever arrow is applicable to the code. So the next thing is going to be input messages. Now we're going to put this as messages as on. And remember, I put info notes on everything so you guys can read it easier, okay? Now, the arrow size is important. If you want big arrows, make it a 3 or a 4. If you want medium arrows, we're going to use a 2 for this video. All right. Our next thing is going to be very, very important. It's going to be the basic candle measurement functions. Beginner friendly, guys. Everything is for beginners, okay? Now, this is how we're going to do this. This is going to be a double. Now, a double basically comes out anything that's not a whole number. So basically, if it's 1.12357, it's going to have that. Or 1.962 or a negative number doing that, but it's not going to be 1 and that's it, okay? It has more than digits in the end, okay? Now we're going to call this candle body, and we're going to put the shift of the int, okay? And that's going to be always 1 for this video. Now you can change it to whatever shift you want depending on what you want, but it's going to be for this video. Now it's going to return as the math ABS. So math ABS is basically going to make the number to a certain point. So instead of having like 0.100002 and have all that, you can round off and have it very equal. And if you want to break down what math ABS is, just go to F1 and break it down. The function returns absolute value of a specific numeric value. So absolute value, it just means it always makes it positive. My bad. Yeah, it always makes it positive. Now we're going to get the close of, okay, so basically we're going to get the close of the shifted candle back. So basically 1 back is the close price and the open price. If it makes a negative, that means either the open is above the close or the close above the open. What's going to do is either going to make it a negative, or the math ABS is going to make sure it's always say positive, okay? And that's going to return that value for this double, okay? The next thing it's going to do is a candle range. We're going to have the same thing return at the high and the low of the shift. Now we have our first candle body and our candle range. Our next is going to be the wick. Now when measuring the wick, it's going to be 1 back and also be a double, okay? So we have our double, we have the shift of 1 back, we're going to have the double top, it's going to be math max, so we can break that down once again. Now, this function returns a maximum value of 2 points. Which one is the, bigger, basically? Okay? Open or the close. And it's going to return the high shift minus the top, okay? Our next thing is going to be the low wick. Exact same thing, but it's going to be the opposite towards the bottom. So this is going to be our basic candle functions, okay? Our next one is going to be pattern detection. Now, with this here, we're going to be looking for the doji, the bullish pin bar, the bearish pin bar, and the bullish and bearish engulfing candle. Cool. So let's break that down, guys. We're going to make this a bool statement. So it's going to either equal true or false. Okay, that's what it's going to return as. Now, and it's going to be off of our current candle. Well, I'm sorry, off of one shift back. So current candle is always 0. Shift 1 is always 1 back. Okay. Now we're going to be doing a double, and it's going to be the body of the candle. So candle shift that's previously above in the global. All right, our double of the range, we already have that previously above in our shift. And if is equal to, so double equals, to help you guys out. So there's different expressions. If it's true, if it's 1 equal, that means that's the value it creates. If it's a double equal, what it means is that it's going to verify if this apple equals this apple, or 1 equals X, which could be 1. And if it reads back, it'll equal true or false. Okay, that's why the cool thing about bulls. Now, once we break that, if it returns false, then it'll be correct. If it doesn't, return body as above is less than the range and times 10%. Now, this 10% is important because you can change this. Because if your doji is like this, is a 10% variance in the entire scheme, then you're going to have a doji. If it falls within the parameters, you can change it to 20%, 30%. It's up to you. But in this video, we're looking for close-knit dojis, okay? Our next one is going to be the bullish pin bar, okay? Now, the bullish pin bar, also a bull statement. It's going to be, is this a bullish pin bar? And it's going to be int of a shift 1 back. Remember, everything's 1 back, okay? Now, we're going to use similar code from the previous version because we're trying to make this as simple as possible. Look, the code is literally the same. You're going to copy and paste it from here to there, okay? Now we're going to do double upper and double lower, where you're going to use the previous functions up here that we use, that we created, and we're also going to go scroll down. Now, our bull body is our small body. Now, what does that mean? When you're looking at a pin bar and measuring it out, which we're going to show you in the video in a second, we're going to show you in the video in a second, is that these type of bullish patterns is going to be looking at how we're going to construct our body. Now, if you don't know what a bullish look like, we can look at it right here in the code because I already have the video ready. Just to break down a little bit more, we're going to hit start and we're going to make it run slow, okay? So this is what we're making right now. And if you see some of these patterns, we can change the color a little bit, make it a little bit easier for you guys to look at. Do white on white, white on black. Here we go. And do candlestick. You'll see that these are being created, and you can see that we have one is going to be a doji, obviously, right here. I'll obviously bullish pin. Where's this doji at? Let me see. Pin. See how it's creating these candles? And we're going to be creating them one by one. Yes, you can make the same thing for hammers and other patterns, but this is just an example of how to create one for dojis. And this is off the 30-minute for euro dollar. So you see stuff like this right here. And we're going to be going through the bullish pin, bearish pin, almost a, not a doji. But we're almost there. Bear pin. And this is a engulfing candle. Another one, bearish engulfing. So now we get the visual scheme of how it looks, okay? And if we ever find a doji that's really close, then we can actually find that one there. Let's see. Kind of close to a doji. Remember, you can make the parameters bigger or larger to help you find the candle that you're looking for. So now that we're going through to find the small body, the long body, the bullish and bearish, just look at this right here. Guys, it's very simple code. Now, it's going to return this. It's going to return this as a true. Small body, and remember, it has to all be true for this to retreat back. So, true, true, and true, and true. If they're all true, and it's going to return this as a true, and then if that is, it's going to give us the little arrow above it or below it, depending on where it's at. Our next one is the bearish pin. So if you look at the differences between the bullish pin and the bearish pin, they're really, really close. This part of the code is exactly the same. This part of the code is exactly the same. If we go down here, look, exactly the same, pretty much. Just a little slight differences. See, we'll get body, range over shift, small body, long body, short body. The only difference is bearish versus bullish, okay? So now we're going to move on to the the bullish engulfing. Now, with this code here, guys, I've broken down parts of it already. We're going to use a bull right here, and that's going to be either true or false. and it's going to have a shift, and the shift's important because we're going to indicate where we're back in the candle, okay? 0, 1, 2, whatever. You can change it to whatever candle you like, okay? You can also make this into a global and be like, hey, I want to make all 1 back, 2 back, 5 back, 10 backs, up to you. Our next one is going to be int curve. It's going to be our shift, and previous is going to be shift +1, okay? And ints are basically whole numbers, and give you that in value. Whole numbers what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whole numbers are basically no decimal points, okay? Fantastic. Now doubles give you the decimal point, and that's why we're going to do math max, math min, max math min, and math max to break down the rest of this code here, okay? Our next one is going to be, and also, about the return value. The return value, please make sure you copy this exactly because we're looking at 2 different parts of it. Because the curved high body has to be greater than or equal to the previous high body, and the curved body has to be less than or equal to the lower body. If these things are correct, it's going to return true. Also make the bullish statements true, and then we have our arrow confirm that, so you guys can get that in there. Our last part when it comes to the identifying of the candles is the bearish engulfing. Now this is going to be a bull statement, and it's going to also be pretty much the same thing, but a slight difference, okay? So when you're looking at the int code from here, shift curve, remember, this is within the code here, so they're not affected by these brackets. If they was in a global, then it would affect everything, but since it's in the brackets, it's not going to affect it at all, okay? Outside of these 2. Our next thing is where we go through max min, max, and our differences are going to be high body, previous body, curved body, previous body. So very slight differences in bullish and bearish, okay? Our next thing is how to draw the arrow. Now, drawing the arrow can be done in a lot of ways. You can do this in the on tick. You can do this as a function, as I was currently doing right now. And if you do it like this way, this is, to me, is the simplest way. Now, there's other ways I've shown in videos to do it on the on tick, just to keep it all in one place, have everything in the on tick, which you can do. But we're going to make this void called draw an arrow, and we're going to do the string the name. So a string is basically anything with a it's kind of like this symbol right here, and whatever's in the middle. We're going to do date time, and time is going to just basically give us the time of the candle, the price, and the color. Color is C. You can change the color to whatever you like, and it's going to be applicable to green candle, red candle. We can be able to change that at any point in time. Now we're going to name this, and the name, so for this string, is going to be broken down like this. So this is going to be the string, because when it comes to objects inside MetaTrader, MQL4, you can't have 2 objects named the same thing. So since we're creating new ones every candle, about every candle, what's going to happen is that the name has to change. So the difference between the previous candle and this one outside the color is going to be the time, the date, and also the price. And once it has that as a difference, it'll be able to create it, and you're not going to duplicate time frames. You'll duplicate objects. So do object create. The name is going to be coming from this information here. Object arrow. Now remember, if you want to change it, just hit F1, and it'll give you a whole list of things you can use. Object vertical line, horizontal line, Fibonacci's, expansions, horizontal, triangle. There's a bunch of things you can use. You can use thumbs down, thumbs up. You can mix it up, guys. Remember, this code is simple and can be adjusted. Now, when it comes to the time and price, that's going to be off of here, and you need to make this a 0 right here. Now, when it comes to object set, so this is after the fact. So once it creates it, you're going to have to change it around, manipulate it by identifying it by the same name, object prop color, and then you change the color to whatever you like on there, okay? Then we have object name, the width, and the arrow size, and then the integer for the arrow code. So now we're going to move to the on tick, okay? That's what happens on every single tick. So when you see the price bumping around, in each price move, there's like a bunch of ticks, basically, where it moves the data. Now, the first thing we're going to do is check out if the bars are greater than or greater than the pattern shift +2. And if it's true, it returns that, and we continue down. Date time is going to be T. It's going to be time plus pattern shift, okay? Now, we're going to detect the Doji and every pattern after that. So we get the Doji, the bull pin, and the bear pin. And remember, these are created right within the code. Because remember, these are bull statements. So they're going to be either true, false, true, false, true, false, based on this right here. Is this a doji? Go back up to here. See? Is this a doji right here? Is this a, so these previous functions in the global apply directly to the on tick, and if they are true, and this is going to return as true, and this bull statement for doji will return true. Same thing for all these right here. Okay? They return true based on what candle, then it will pop open with that. Our next thing is draw arrow plus optimal print. So what does that mean? When you get your doji, it prints out a doji and then gives you a message and draws the arrow. See? Doji plus the time, the high pattern, and the points. Now that's going to be how far it is off of the current candle, and sometimes the point needs to be measured. So usually you can do it off the high, off the low, and it will be like 10 pips above the high each time. But if you just put it at a certain mark off the close or off the open, it's going to be within the candle, but it will be on that candle for that arrow, okay? We're going to make this color yellow. So dojis are yellow. And if you show this message right here, doji was created, and here's a timestamp right here. Doji, very easy. Same thing for bull pin, same thing for bear pin. All of them have the same type of code, and they're a little bit different when it comes to their name. So make sure you make sure that the name is written in there correctly so you guys can see it, okay? Now, we're going to scan through the code one last time. If you have any question or comments, let me know. We're going to go back to the MetaTrader strategy tester so you can see how this works. Now, why would you do this is a question. Well, if you do this because you can be a technical analysis trader and you're looking for certain patterns, and those patterns indicate you go short or go long, and then you can use this code to help expand upon your technical analysis trading style. There's a lot of value you can put into this stuff. So we're going to start it again, and you'll see that we're going to run it on here. Now, not the fastest mode. We're going to run it off of, I think, 1 down. Our next thing is candlestick. So you can see, moves 1 back, adds it, and then there. So it's a very simple way to add strategies. You can be like, okay, we're going to find harmonics. You can tie this into harmonic patterns. You can also tie this into other technical analysis. There's a whole bunch of things you can do with this. So make sure, guys, you like the video, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel. If you're looking for my e-guide, it'll be on my website or on Amazon. So check out the e-guide, guys. If you're looking for custom indicators, custom programs, then join my website, join my Discord or my Telegram, try to contact me. We can have that conversation. Thank you guys so much for making it to the end of the video. I hope my way of explaining was simple and very beginner friendly. And if you need me to break it down even more simple, and then I can do that too. But thank you guys for making it to the end of the video. Have a nice day. Peace. Too hard.